Okay, welcome to my second review of my 2024 Haval Ultra. I've had the car 3 weeks now, and I thought I'd do a second review to show people what it was like at night, and also a few other bits and pieces that I've now sort of worked out and found. So 3 weeks of driving, and I have to admit, when I first got this car, I thought it was quite clunky on the takeoff, and I said as much in my first review. What I've realised now is that I came from a 2015 5-speed manual Nissan Patrol to a 7-speed automatic, and there's a big difference in throttle and stuff, so so I've got that worked out. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Now, I turned my lights off, but they've gone to the automatic mode and turned back on again. So, there we go. That's them. And that's off, but they'll probably, there you go, they just turned back on again. But that's okay, I don't mind that. Now, I don't know if you can see, but up there on my screen where the car is parked across the road, you may or may not be able to see my head-up display. It's just there. Now, during the day, even with sunglasses on, that thing is extremely bright. You can see it in bright daylight. It's fantastic. And the best part is, in your options here, if you go to the car thingy, the little car whatever, and you go to, I think it's driving. Let's see. Do we have the head-up display there? Maybe it's... Anyway, in one of them, with the head-up display, which I can't put my finger on just yet, but with the head-up display, you can actually change where it sits on your dash, as in high and low. So if you're a short person and you're sitting further down, you can put the head-up display up higher on the windscreen to reflect on the windscreen, which I found really good because I'm 5.5 feet tall, and I found that with the way my chair was set, that being able to move the head-up display the way I needed it was really, really good. So I was very happy with that. Now, a couple of things I wanted to show everybody is when you turn the lights on, you get mood lighting in the car, which I find really very cool. You can't adjust it, which is a real shame because it would be very cool if it did other things. Having said that though, it is still a very nice detail, and it's pretty, swish. I mean, I've never had a car that's had mood lighting before. I don't know about anybody else. So a couple of other things I've found now that I've had this car for a while. You must plug in your Android with a Samsung cord. It must be a Samsung cord. It cannot be a cheapy USB to C cord that you get from the $2 shop. It must be the original Samsung cord. I tried with other cords and it just kept turning off Android Auto. So I went to Samsung shop at Chermside Shopping Centre here in Brisbane and bought a $14 original Samsung cord, and here we go. This is the result. So down here, once you plug your phone in, if that's going to zoom in for me, you just go there and look at this. Comes up with your maps, comes up with your playlist, whatever you're playing, your maps, and then you go here. That takes you back to your Haval screen, and then you got all your phone bits and pieces. Brilliant. Everything you need. So if you do have a Samsung, grab the original cord. Don't try and use a different cheaper cord. It won't work. And having said that, on the steering wheel here, which I don't know if you can see, oh yeah, you can, that little icon here that I'm just covering with my finger, that is actually your talk icon. So you press it. Hi, how can I help you?
That's so considerate of you to ask. Nobody ever asks me that. You're so thoughtful.
Okay, and it's very reactive. I'll press it again. Send Paul a message.
Sorry, who do you want a message?
Send Tick a message.
Sorry, who do you want a message?
Send Tick a message. See, it's saying send text message. It's not getting my husband's nickname, but that's okay. I mean, it is what it is. But it is very intuitive. The fact that it responded that way in the first place, I thought was quite good. So if you just want to go back to the Haval screen, you just pick Haval, and it takes you straight back to all your other bits and pieces. So it's no biggie. I mean, it doesn't take much. And then you just go back in and then back in like that. And then you've got it. So it's very, very cool. I really like this system. Really, 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 really do. And as I said, go to Samsung, get the cord. You will be grateful, because the other cords just will not work, and it'll be too much hassle, and you'll get to that point where you want to throw the whole damn system in the bin. Because you'll be wondering why your cord won't work. That's why your cord won't work. I don't know about Apple. All I know is that that's for the Android. Now, the cool thing about the Android is when you go in and put, say, okay, I'll put Costco in, and then we're going to go start. Look at that. I don't know.
Wholesale North Lakes may be closed by the time you arrive.
Thank you. I don't know if you can actually see that very well, but on my head-up display, it now has an arrow. It's telling me what street I'm on, where I need to turn next, and then it tells you how far away you are from your turn. So instead of looking down here constantly, you've got it right there on your head-up display if you've got your phone plugged in. That only works if you have your phone plugged in. It won't work if you don't have your phone plugged in, because there is no navigation in this car. But as you see, it's very easily rectified with this lovely big screen, etc., etc. So it's not a big deal, to be honest. Now, a couple of other things I've found since starting to drive this. Firstly, the lights. The lights on this car, the interior lights, are absolutely brilliant. And the best part is, when you get out of the car and lock it, there are lights on the outside of the mirrors, on the outside mirrors. So you've got egress lighting everywhere. The back light's just turned off. And this is your light switch here. So that's just to turn your lights on and off when you're inside. This button here, I wasn't sure last time what that was for, but that is for your automatic lights when you get in and out of the car. That's what that switch is there, which I learnt rather quickly. The other things I've learnt are, well, I forgot to say that these are your manual paddles here, just there and just, sorry, I had stitches put in my hand, so just there and just there. Now this little doohickey here, which again, I don't know if you can see because the lighting is not fantastic at this point in time. I'm just trying to, yeah, I can't get a light in here. But anyway, this switch here, that is your cruise control. Now, I did the cruise control. I drove to Bundaberg and I did the cruise control, and equal parts impressed, equal parts a little meh. And I'll explain why. If somebody cuts you off on the highway, which happened to me more than a few times, both on my way to Bundaberg and back again, this car will brake automatically for you when you are in cruise control. It's the adaptive cruise control, and this car will brake. So if a car cuts in front of you and you're doing 110 an hour on the Bruce Highway, this car will go right down. Like, it'll brake heavily if somebody cuts you off hard enough. Having said that, This car will also adapt to the cars in front of you, and if the cars in front of you are slowing down, your car will slow down automatically for you. And when the cars in front of you speed back up, your car will speed back up. You don't have to touch a thing. You don't have to touch your accelerator. You don't have to touch your brake. Nothing. Once you have your speed set, then it simply does it for you. Now, having said that, as most cruise controls, it is heavy on fuel. Not going to lie, it's heavy on fuel. However, if you're driving a long drive and you just need a break from trying to keep yourself on target for your speed, it's actually a very, very good way of doing it, because, we all get to that point where we think, oh, for God's sake, I'm tired of having my foot on the accelerator for hours and hours on end. It's a great way of doing it. It really is a very good way of doing it. And it worked very, very well. But you do have to be careful if somebody brakes in front of you, or if they cut you off, the car will react, and it reacts quickly. And I could see you wearing your brake pads down if you had this set all the time. But it does work in normal traffic, day-to-day driving, if you're just in traffic too, not just on the highway. Like, it works very well. I'm not going to lie. I was very impressed with it. So one of the other things that I mentioned in my last review was the switches down here. This one here is traction control. I couldn't think of the name of it. It's traction control. The one to the very right is hill descent, and the one second from the left is actually a light leveler. So this one here that I'm blacking out with the tip of my finger, if you have people in the back of your car, or if you're hauling a trailer that's heavy, you can adjust your lights on the front of your car to adjust to the way the car is weighted, basically, is the only way I can put it. But having said that, I would probably never use it, but that's just me. It's just how it is. I would never use it, but I mean, it might come in handy for somebody. Now, a couple of things I have found. One, I do like this gear shift. I like it. I like it a lot. However, if you are not careful, everything just turned off because I got the engine off, so the car's shutting itself down. If you're not careful, you can go from reverse to neutral to drive to M, which is manual. Now, a couple of times I have accidentally gone too far from drive all the way to manual by turning it slightly too far to the right, and ended up over revving my car and not being able to work out why. And that's because I haven't changed gears, because it thinks it's in manual mode. So yay. So be aware of that. Now, I know I'm sitting here, but I don't have my foot on the brake. I can turn the bits and pieces on without turning the engine on by simply pressing the button, and all the bits and pieces come up again, but the engine is not on. I just have the accessories on. So that's something else that is actually quite good. I'll admit that.
Please switch on your lights.
I've found that the room in this car is brilliant, and the way this car drives, I'm still impressed with it. I don't know about fuel economy, because it's not really what this is about. I'm not interested in the fuel economy per se. The reason I say that is because the fuel economy I leave to the people who know what they're talking about. I have no clue. I'm more interested in the way the car drives. I'm interested in the safety features. I'm interested in the doodads and the thingamybopses and all that sort of stuff. I'm not interested in my tire pressure, to a point. And I'm not interested in how much my fuel economy is, or whatever. Other people can work that out. There are probably plenty of other YouTube channels that will tell you what the fuel economy for a car like this is, or even the variants of this car. That's not what I'm doing. So, it is what it is. A couple of other things I have found driving this car. Apparently there are sensors in the windows, so that if something gets caught in the windows when they're going up, they will stop and go back down again. I have found out that if it rains and you have your moonroof open, it will automatically close, which is also very cool. The ventilation in the seats works extremely well. It is very comfortable driving with the ventilation on in the heat of Queensland's oncoming summer. Not going to lie, that's been great. What else? Oh yes, also too, if you have animals, there are two ways to lock the car. You can use the fob or you can use the handle, the door handle, either left or right, doesn't matter, passenger or driver. However, if you've got a dog or a cat in the car for whatever reason, or maybe you're leaving, mum and teenagers and dad in the car while you run into the shop, if you lock the car with the fob, all the windows and the moonroof will close. If you lock the car with the handle of the door, then the windows and the moonroof will stay open. Just a little tidbit, and not necessarily something, earth-shatteringly wonderful or anything, but it's good to know because I have a dog, and while I don't usually leave him in the car, the other day I did need to go and pay for fuel, and I thought I'd left the windows down. When I came back to the car was locked up with the windows up, and then I worked out that it was because I locked the car with the fob. So that's something to look out for. Of course, the car has things like the egress lighting. It's got lights underneath the outside mirrors, the side mirrors, so that when you lock the car up, it glows for a few seconds, probably just to, make sure you know where your feet are and stuff. I'll do another video shortly and show you how the boot stuff works, because that's pretty impressive. I like the fact that the floor moves. You can raise it up or down depending on how you need it to go. A few things I've added to my car since I got it. I bought a dash mat, which you cannot see in this light, but it is there. It's black and it suits the head-up display, etc. I bought black and red car seat covers, which you also cannot really see except for the front ones. And I also bought opaque sunshades that I put on myself, that were really easy to put on, and they look good. And I'm just waiting on a bonnet protector, and I've also got some mud guards as well to put on it as well. Now, a couple of other things in here which I forgot to mention, which people might find interesting, and I'm not sure. Here we go. Vehicle stats tells you what your battery's at. Now, when I first drove it off the lot, it was like 30%. At the moment, it's at 81%, which I think is pretty damn good. Now, there's your head-up display. And see, height adjustment is what I was talking about before. So that's really good. So I've adjusted it to suit me. The brightness you can adjust. Rotation adjustment. I don't know what that means. I haven't tried that. Mode setting on normal, sport and snow. Well, I've got it on normal. I don't think I'm ever going to need snow in Queensland. And then you can choose what you're looking at. Navigation, Bluetooth, telephony, drive assist information, which is, your speed and stuff like that. So that can all be done, through that. Oh, one thing I did check when I did my last review, I pressed this button for the rear view camera and the 360 surrounds. Turns out that while that is a good thing, because if you're going through a drive-through or a narrow car park or something like that, you can actually keep an eye on where your wheels are going. And it's actually, I've used it more than a few times. I've found it very, very handy to have. But if you go here, which it's not going to do for me, but if you go to this one here, well, we're not driving, so I guess it won't do that. But this button here, this little P, That's how you do your automatic parking. So when you're driving along, and I probably will try and get a video of this at some point, but when you're driving and you're in a car park, you press that button, take your foot off the accelerator, and the car just rumbles forward very slowly, highlights blank car parks that it thinks it can maneuver into, and then you touch one of the highlighted car parks, and it'll say, you know, check your surroundings, take your foot off the brake, and then you press the next button and it parks for you. Now, it did it very well. I found it quite quick and everything. My only issue with it was that I found it a bit, what's the word I can use here? Well, clunky, really. Like, you could hear it changing gear and putting it into reverse and then braking it and then putting it into forward to go forward, and or drive and to go forward and all that sort of stuff. So it was a little on the clunky side, but it did work. It worked very well. Now, I haven't been game enough to use it in any other situation at all, but it did work. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Now, I haven't played around with any of this. I'm not sure what any of that is, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, oh, okay. Well, it obviously shows you, you know. Oh, all right, there you go. So it shows you all your bits and bots. One thing I will say that I really like when you're reversing, the closer you get to an object, this will turn a different color. It turns, I think, yellow, and it gives you a different view. So you start out with your view as, you know, you're reversing like that, and then the closer you get, the view changes to downward, so you can see actually in real time how close you're getting to whatever is parked behind you. And that is an absolutely great thing to have when you're in a really narrow car park. It's brilliant. It's one of those things that I've used constantly, to be honest. I have used it constantly, so it's been really, really good. I don't think there's anything else I haven't mentioned that I've found out. Oh, yes, there is. So up here, which you again cannot see because I'm doing this one in the dark for other reasons, up here on the side where your cameras are, there's a USB port just in here. Now, I am assuming it is for dash cameras and GPS models and stuff like that. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know. I haven't even plugged anything into it. I wouldn't have a clue. But there, it is up there. So, you know, I mean, if you're desperate for a new port to charge with, you can always plug it in there. Now, this cord is plugged into the one down here on the passenger side, just there, right there. And on this side, you've also got one, which would be nice if it was lit up, but it's not. I'm wondering if I put the headlights on, will it? No. Okay, it doesn't light up, but there is one there, and there's also a 12-volt port there as well, which is very handy. And of course, there are two USB ports in the back as well. So there's plenty of charging, and plus you got your wireless charger, which I mentioned last time. You got your wireless charger as well. So there is heaps of charging here. You're not going to run out. There's none in the boot as far as I can see, but you don't really need it. With so much in the front and the back, I don't think you need it in the boot. Oh, that's my steering wheel cover. It's black and red too, because my car is red, so I figured I may as well. And even my fob, I got a fob cover, and the fob cover is red as well. So my original key is underneath it. So yeah, I haven't worked out the windscreen wipers. I know they're automatic and all that sort of thing. I haven't worked those out yet because I haven't needed them, because we haven't had any rain. So the windscreen wipers, for the automatic windscreen wipers, I haven't needed those yet. But look, I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with the interior of this car at night. I think it's very, very nice. It lights up really nicely, and everything is very visible. And you can, of course, dim everything and whatever else you need to do. Now with the gear changer, I don't know if it'll let me. No, because the engine's not on at the moment. But I will show you what I mean. I'm just going to pull my seat forward a bit so that I can put my foot on the brake. You must have your foot on the brake to start the car. It's that simple. You have to have your foot on the brake to start the car. So there we go. So I'm in park. So if you come up here, we can see I'm in park. So now I'm in drive. But see, if you go, and there's my camera view. Now it's just telling me what's in front of me. But if you go one more, see, it goes M, that's manual. And that's what these paddles up here are for, is to change it from automatic so you can change gears, which I have never used. Well, I did once and I didn't like it because that's not how I change gears. I use a clutch. So there's that's one gear shift, and steering wheel's, there we go, that's the other gear shift just there. So yeah, so you do have to be a bit careful that you don't rotate your thing too far. So that's neutral, and then that's automatic. And then of course you just press it to go back into park. It highlights. You pull your parking brake on, take your foot off the brake, and then you can just shut it all down again. Okay, I don't know what that means. And then of course it gives you all your information about your driving. It tells you how long you were driving, how far you went, and the intelligent trig, which I think again is the car's way of telling you what a crappy driver you are if you make a mistake. Is what it is. So yeah, I haven't investigated this much. Okay, let's have a look at this and see what it does. Intelligent. Oh, okay, so it's just your driving system.
Drive safely.
Oh, here we go. So that's your wireless charge on, steering wheel heating definitely off.
Please switch on your lights.
Rear view mirror auto fold. I don't know what that means. I think that is for when you've got a car coming up behind you and their lights are quite bright. I think that's what that is. So let's go into vehicle status. Well, we're at 79% because we've been sitting, parking. So yeah, you can adjust all of this. I mean, yeah. So that's the second video. That's where I'm at now. Just a few bits and pieces to add to this one. Nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. This one was more just a follow-on from the first one for things I didn't touch on, and this screen, the Android Auto, was one of the main ones that I wanted to cover, because it is very intuitive. I mean, it's great. You know, so I really like it. But you do need that cord. As I said earlier, you need the cord. On my next video, if anybody'd like to see, I'll do a rundown of the outside. The outside's pretty boring. I mean, it's a car with mirrors, but the tailgate is good. The tailgate's functionality is really good, and I use that a lot. And I've already used the tray in the boot, put that down further to get some extra luggage in when I went to Bundaberg for my dog. So I've already used that as well. So that has come in handy. I've had the moonroof open more than a few times just because I could and because it's lovely, driving with it open. And I have to say that the air conditioning in this thing is great. Like, the air conditioning, it is truly a great system. It really, really is. So after 3 weeks of ownership, I'm still loving it. I'm still loving it. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still getting to know it. And I think for the price you pay and for the extras you get, I think it's completely worth the money. I really do. Look, I urge you, if you're thinking about getting a more expensive car with just the basics, why would you? When you can get a nice car like this, drives beautifully, handles well, has enough room to, travel with a couple of kids, a couple of adults, maybe a dog or two, room in the back for luggage. I mean, why wouldn't you? It doesn't make sense to me to buy a car with a name badge on it and then have to pay more for the extras that this one came for in just a standard model. Um, you know, so that's my opinion. It, it it really is just a matter of opinion. Check out the lighting though; it's still very cool. It's a shame it's not interchangeable, but it is what it is. It's still very cool. And as I say, because I've got a red car, I decided to go with the red and black car seat covers, which I think are pretty damn cool, to be honest. And the back seats are matching as well. You just can't see them. So that's it for another one. Let me know if you'd like any more information. I'm more than happy to provide it. I'm finding out bits and pieces daily. So if you want more information, or if there's a specific question about something techie or some sort of safety feature or something, ask and let me know, and I'll have a look and see if I can find it for you. For anybody who is considering this car, I urge you to go and have a test drive. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I really, really don't. I genuinely don't think you'll be disappointed. Anyway, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and yeah, have a great night. Take care.